afternoon, folks. Welcome to the Community Support Center at Valida Senior Living. Quick update, if you haven't heard it yet, we've successfully moved from the 4th floor down to the 3rd floor. You see everyone just working so hard and putting things back in place and making it magical like it always has been for you. We are so happy to be celebrating our April destination celebration with you. And this goes out to all of our executive directors, health and wellness directors, our resident engagement directors, all the sales directors, all of our dining friends, and of course to our moms and dads in our communities. Destinations, of course, is our Inspired Living branded program for resident engagement. And what we do is each month we come back in and we dive into a different state. And we look at the culture, we look at the history, we look at the arts and crafts. And this is a great chance for us to come back and engage our residents at the community level with so many different things that happen throughout the month. And of course the live cooking demo is performed twice a month at all of our senior living communities by Inspired Living. I'm happy to have with me my partner in crime, one of the hardest working men in show business and the culinary business, Chef Craig Livingston.
Woohoo!
And I tell you, it's a huge round of applause. And also I want to do a special shout out to my friend and my partner, Miss Wendy O'Connor. I knew her back in her Brookdale days, and I thought way back then she could not be any stronger, she could not be any better, any more passionate. Boy, was I wrong. She is just living the dream here at Inspired Living and making it special for so many of our moms and dads with her support and guidance and wisdom. So thank you, Wendy O'Connor. We appreciate that. Of course, we're going to get started off with a couple of jokes. I call them jokes. You, of course, don't. But anyways, we're going to do this. This is just one of our little traditions that we started in 2022. So the joke is, what do you get when you play a Texas country song backwards? Get your house back, your wife back, your job back, your truck back. Texas, of course, is known as the Lone Star State, Lone being 1. And of course, that's on a grading scale of 5 stars.
Oh.
There's the groans I'm looking for. What is the difference between Texas and taxes? Texas is state, taxes, we all pay income taxes.
Yeah.
What's the difference? Taxes can keep the electric grid running in Texas. And of course, that's a reference to last winter when they had that snowstorm and about half of Texas lost their power. And they're just, so anyways. All right, so I call them jokes, you don't, but we're getting started anyways. All right, a couple of, and actually, is anyone in the room here from Texas originally?
Isn't Christian? Or did you
No,
just live
we
there
used
for
to
a while?
live there.
No, okay, not originally. Used to live there?
No,
No, okay.
He lived there.
I will go
But
back anytime.
Christian lived there, but he's not born and raised there.
Any Texas stories you went there on vacation, or any Texas stories you want to share? I have one, I'll share a true story.
Gas
So
is cheaper.
I'm sorry?
Gas is
Is cheaper, thank you for sharing that. So my only Texas story is I was actually taking my first wife, I'm a second wife, first one for practice, second one I decided to keep. It was my first wife and I, where I got a job transfer from Florida all the way up to California. So we're driving across the country, and we actually stayed in San Antonio, a little hotel in San Antonio, Texas. And back then I had, we had all of our belongings was on an open trailer. I was driving a 750 motorcycle back then, and the motorcycle was on there, all of our stuff. So we pulled in this hotel overnight, chained the trailer with all of our belongings to a fence, and I thought I pulled our car in to block it off nicely. Got up in the morning and the trailer was gone. Now, nothing against San Antonio, I'm just sharing a Texas story with you. San Antonio is a beautiful city. So, without further ado, a couple little known facts about the Lone Star State. That is the official title of it. Texas is famous for its barbecue. It's also known as the live music capital of the world. Texas, of course, is known for the Tex-Mex cuisine. That's a combination of the Texas cuisine with the Mexican cuisine. Of course, they share the same border, and Tex-Mex is just absolutely huge nationwide. It truly has become a phenomenon for us, everybody. I'm not sure if y'all knew this or not, but Texas actually invented queso, and they invented the margarita. What we'll do is a little bit later in the show today, I'll be demonstrating a top shelf margarita. Chef Craig, my partner in crime, is going to be demonstrating what's either called a Texas caviar or a Cowboy Caviar, depending on who you talk to. A little bit about the history of Texas. The Spanish missionaries first settled in the area known as San Antonio, Texas in 1718. That's why I shared that San Antonio story. The Mexican government actually allowed settlers to claim land within Texas itself. it became such a popular destination for so many of the pioneers back in the early days of the United States that Mexico decided, hey, this is getting way too popular. We want to take some of this back of what we gave you. That actually caused some wars, and then I'm sorry. Here we go. Here in 1836, that's when Mexico started to take it back. And after about 5 or 6 years, Texas decided they can't keep fighting off the Mexican government and the Mexican military forces, so they formally asked the United States to join. So Texas, again, is our second biggest state, and they joined the United States as the second state in December 29, 1845. Texas is known for some very distinctive dances, like the Texas two-step, the one-step, the two-step shuffle. Of course, we all know the song about Brooks and Dunn, the boot, scoot, and boogie. That is a tribute to the Texas style of dancing. Famous singers from Texas include Willie Nelson, Selena, Beyonce. Selena. I love Selena.
I loved her.
I love her. Me too. Travis Scott, Janis Joplin, Waylon Jennings, Kelly Clarkson. Famous actors from Texas include Owen Wilson, Luke Wilson. I'm sorry, you like him too? Okay.
Yeah.
So we all know that Kate likes Beyonce, no, Selena,
I like
and
Selena.
Owen Wilson. All right, good to know. Quiz on that a little bit later for you. Other famous actors: Jamie Foxx, Jennifer Garner, Tommy Lee Jones, Forrest Whitaker, Renee Zellweger, and Matthew McConaughey. So that's a brief intro to Texas. And again, the things that you can do at your community is come back in there, and we have so many different events planned throughout the month to celebrate Texas in the month of April. Again, Destinations, our Inspired Living branded program for resident engagement. Without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Chef Craig Livingston. He can talk about that Texas Caviar, also known as Cowboy Caviar.
Sure.
Chef?
Thank you, Kevin. So, as Kevin said, we're going to be making some Texas Caviar, Cowboy Caviar, which is a salad of black-eyed peas and black beans and corn, tossed with some mixed vegetables, some red wine vinegar, olive oil, salt and pepper, some jalapenos, and we serve that with some chips. It takes about 24 hours to season up in the refrigerator overnight. So I'm just going to show you how to prepare it, put it all together so we can get ready for the refrigerator. I've actually prepared some ahead of time so that you guys can get a good taste of it and know what it's all about. So recipe goes like this. We have 2 cans of black-eyed peas, not pigeon peas, readily available in your local grocery store. I've cleaned them up. I've taken them, rinsed them in a colander under water to get all that, get the can residue off of there so that they're edible, ready to eat. Same thing with black beans. 1 can of black beans. So that's 2 cans of the black-eyed peas, 1 can of black beans, 1 can of corn. I'm going to throw that in there, just going to give it a little mix. Right now, you can see all the nice colors just coming all together, right? I've diced up 1 pepper, okay? 1 pepper, and for those of you that, we want to dice it small, right? So we're just going to take out pepper. This was a whole pepper at one point. I cut it up. I like to cut from the meat side in. Take that out. We're going to kind of keep it not so, a little less messy. I like to cut around the seeds so that they can keep the seeds intact, so it's easier for me to throw away at the end. I've taken off all the rib meat, and then I have a little bit of seeds left over. We're just going to discard this. My garbage can is over here. And the same thing, we're going to cut these into small strips, and then we're going to give a nice fine dice. For those of you that didn't know, Texas, the caviar was created in 1940 by a woman named Helen Corbett. I believe it was, and correct me, Kevin, if I'm not mistaken, it was first served as a dish on New Year's Eve. And later served at the Driscoll Hotel in Austin. It's actually put on their menu. The reason it's called Texas Caviar is because it simulates the look of regular caviar, just on a lot cheaper basis. Right? So you save a lot of money. I'm just going to dice this up, real fine, so that we can disperse it in the caviar. I'm going to get that all mixed out so nobody gets one big chunk of jalapeno. And we have some garlic that we're going to press. Got my nice little chip. You can cut this, you can press this, whatever's easier for you. This recipe calls for 5 cloves. I'm going to jam those in there. I'm going to press. can. It's not gonna let me do 5 at once. We'll do 4. If anybody doesn't have one of these, I highly suggest you get one.
Sweet.
Makes it nice and easy. Put it back in there. Okay. We got our garlic. I'm gonna add some cilantro. Cilantro is an herb that goes well with a lot of Mexican dishes, Texas dishes. We're just gonna give that a nice rough chop.
Tastes like toothpaste.
Tastes like toothpaste, is that what you said?
You have that gene?
Does anybody not like cilantro? Don't like cilantro?
I have the gene,
Love
but
it.
it
I think cilantro gives it a nice fresh texture, fresh flavor, fresh texture. Fold that right in there.
I've heard that.
A couple limes. So it's the juice of 2 limes. These are pretty, it's actually the juice of 1 lime, but these are pretty small. Get 2 limes going in there. Who likes to cook at home? Do you have any home cooks here?
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody?
I like this because I'm learning new recipes.
You what? What's that?
Learning new recipes.
Yep.
I like it.
You watch your cooking shows? Which cooking shows do you like? 'Cause I have an opinion about cooking shows.
Do you?
I do.
I like Guy's Grocery Games.
Yeah.
and
Right, so the
Wars.
positive shows are what I like. I hate Chopped. I think it's the worst show on TV. I think
like
food is an
Midnight
opinion,
Joe when she
and
was-
I'm from New York, so if you don't like my food, you don't have to eat in my restaurant. That's my opinion. So a lot of people don't agree with me, but that's fine.
It's funny, as you're talking about different recipes, it reminds me of, Flash this. Who knows what my wife's favorite thing to make for dinner is?
Reservations.
Reservations.
Mine too. 2 tablespoons of red wine vinegar. Get those going in there. Then we're gonna also add, you see here, 4 tablespoons of olive oil. Some kosher salt and pepper. And that is actually gonna be our recipe in a nutshell. I'm sorry, scallions. Last thing we have, some nice green onions, scallions. Love onions, love the flavor. I'm just gonna slice them real thin, try not to cut our fingers off.
So Chef, I'm counting upwards of 13 different ingredients and flavor profiles, yes? Is that pretty close?
Pretty close,
Pretty
pretty
close.
close, and you know, wasn't not an expensive dish. As you can see, it makes quite a bit. I've had some conversations with some people before, but if we take this and you want to throw in some avocado, the avocado makes it a little bit more pasty looking, not as appealing to the eye, but delicious in the long run. You want to use it as any kind of garnish on a hamburger, a salad. This is has multiple uses. Make this, throw it in a mason jar, and you know, you can have this for a few days and it tastes delicious. Pepper in there. I'm a pepper fanatic. I think it gives everything good flavor. And then it's a nice, fresh, vibrant salad. Okay? And for the sake of everybody on camera and everybody here, I made a batch yesterday, and this is what it looks like, ready to go. And there you have it. We serve it with some tortilla chips. You can serve it with pita chips. Like I said, you can put it on a burger. You can eat it in a salad. It's just a great garnish and quite delicious.
Love it.
Thank you, Chef. A couple things to point out here to share with everyone, and especially our viewers there in Inspired Living Land. But number one, obviously, you see myself wearing gloves. You see Chef Craig wearing gloves. Gloves are going to be a requirement for food safety for our moms and dads, anything that's called a ready-to-eat food. So if you're going to come back and you're going to cook something, not necessary, still advised but not necessary for the health codes, but anything ready to eat, you want to glove up, number one. Number two is you saw a chef and he had all of his stuff all laid out there in front of all of his ingredients as they're getting ready. We talked about our dining rooms about the importance of mise en place. And mise en place means pretty much just having the things that you need for whatever you're preparing at your fingertips and available. So you saw that, can you imagine if you were to come back there and try to open up 8 or 9 different cans of this or that, etc. But he was mise en place, he had it all laid out ready to go and to get that prepared. Same thing, I'll talk about the margaritas. I got a mise en place. I'm going to build it from my right to my left as we're making the margaritas for you folks. Also, just as a reminder, Chef Craig talked about this already, but at the community level, you might want to consider with the fresh jalapeno, it's coming back and making a small batch with no jalapeno in that, just because a lot of times our moms and dads, some of them are just spice fanatics, a lot of them are not. So just some words of wisdom to live by.
Maybe you added this, put it on the side, let them sprinkle a little bit on top themselves. Same thing with salt and pepper. If it's, you know, if you have some people on high blood pressure, can't eat the salt, keep it on the side, let them control it themselves.
Yep. One last point for it, and we'll move on to the margarita part of the demonstration, is when we talk about less expensive items, a lot of times it's not going to be the cost of the item that we're making in our communities for our moms and dads, but more often than not, it's about how much love goes into that. So you think about a lower cost item, but think about all the amount of love that went into that dish, and including Chef Craig making that 24 hours ago, because we all know that your sauces, your gravies, your casseroles, your soups, they're all going to be better the second day, let those flavor profiles meld together. So it's a very important thing to do, and it's not a necessity, but again, we're talking about giving back and love, giving our love selflessly to our moms and dads in our communities. That's one great example of that. Thank you very much, Chef. Great job. All right, so the margarita, the original margarita was actually, invented back in 1948 by a lady by the name of Margarita Sames. And she's actually down in Acapulco, and she's, Acapulco, of course, subtropics, very hot down there, looking for a way to kind of cool down mid-afternoon, experimenting with different drinks back and forth. She actually took a tequila Herradera, it's a specific brand of tequila, took a Cointreau, which is an orange-based liqueur, and then she added in lime juice. And back and forth, she actually came upon the original recipe for the margarita. Funny thing about the margarita is that, do you know that the margarita actually comprises 18% of all mixed drink sales in bars nationwide in the United States? 18% of the cocktails are ordered are going to be a margarita, which is a huge number. When you get to your southern states, Alabama, Louisiana, Texas, Florida, Mississippi, the Southern Belt, etc., it actually comprises 38% of mixed drinks ordered in the southern states bars are going to be margaritas.
Sweet.
Unbelievable. This next stat just blew me away. On average, Americans consume 185,000 margaritas, you think per day, per week, per hour. Per hour, 185,000 margaritas are consumed by Americans per hour. I couldn't believe that.
I'm behind
I've
already.
heard somewhere. And during COVID.
The first frozen margarita machine was actually invented. It was a spin-off from the soft serve ice cream machines, but the first frozen margarita machine was invented back in 1971, and of course it's a different way to have your margaritas. We're doing it on the rocks today, by the way. I was surprised by this last stat, as a matter of fact. The U.S. is the #1 tequila market in the world, even more so than Mexico, where it actually is more popular down there. And we just buy a lot more of that. All right, so we're getting ready to build some margaritas here, but of course I know everyone's saying, Kevin, are the jokes over already? No, they're not. Don't worry. So it goes like this. Right, any Dallas Cowboy fans in the room? Better not be, okay. Tornado warning in Texas. Everyone evacuate to the Cowboy Stadium. There's no chance of a touchdown there. What's the difference between... Thank you, Kate.
It took me a minute.
I was hoping someone would laugh at that joke. What's the difference between a Texas tornado and a redneck divorce? Nothing. Either way, someone's going to lose a trailer. All right, so that's enough of the jokes. Now, coincidentally enough, margarita, I'm going to put away my notes. This is actually a top
You
shelf.
not want to show this video in Texas.
Oh, we do have our fans in Louisville and Sugar Land. I'm just kidding, of course. You know, we're here to have fun, and this is more about our moms and dads, so don't take that personally. Thank you, Chef. Good point. So love to Louisville, love to Sugar Land. All right, anyways, this is going to be an easy one for me to do. Actually, true story, my drink of choice is going to be a top shelf margarita. Driving my wife crazy because the ingredients go with that. So I'm going to demonstrate a top shelf margarita right here at the Community Sports Center today for you. At the community level, this is very important, and it doesn't have to be the top shelf. Margaritas are going to be very good. You can go with a standard well tequila. You can go with a triple sec. You can go with a margarita mix versus a fresh squeezed lime, etc., etc. There's a bunch of different ways to modify it. So I'm going to show you one specific recipe. The original recipe itself does call for the fresh squeezed lime juice, and it does call for what's called a simple syrup. A simple syrup is no pun intended, as simple as melting sugar and water, and it comes into a slurry, and also it becomes like a very clear syrup, if you will. So that's all there is for a simple syrup, just a mixture of sugar and water. So we talked about mise en place for Chef Craig, and very critical, we always talk about dining rooms about getting ready for it. So my mise en place goes as follows. So I'm going to come back and I'm going to take a 14-ounce plastic cup, so you can see what's going on here. I'm going to dip it in the orange juice. You can dip it in orange juice or lime juice, doesn't matter. You can dip it in water sometimes. All you're looking to do is to get some moisture on the top part of this glass, and so the salt will actually stick. I actually chose what's called a key lime salt. Actually, by definition, you can go with something special like that. You can use a kosher salt, as often recommended. You can use a table salt. It really is not that critical to the drink itself. So as you come up and when you open up the bar and open the food station, when you order your margarita, please just say, Kevin, I want salt or no salt. But I'm going to come back to plastic cup and I'm going to dip it in the orange to get the liquid on there. Dip it in the key lime salt and we'll fill it up with ice. We're going to go with the Jose Cuervo tequila today. Grand Marnier is actually, this is how I make my top shelf margaritas. Cointreau is, a lot of folks say, is an equal substitute. I say those who say that, they're close, but they're really wrong. We had this once before at one of our other things. It truly is called the nectar of the gods, and that's why we brought it here for you at the CSC. But again, a Cointreau or triple sec would work. We talked about you can use a fresh squeezed lime. You can use lime juice to add your own simple syrup. They actually have a Key West lime juice in a squeeze bottle. It's just a gorgeous flavor on the lime juice. You heard about an orange-based liqueur being both the Grand Marnier as well as the Cointreau. In my margaritas, I do a splash of orange juice because it just blends these flavor profiles together so much. We talked about 14 flavors over there, so I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different flavors over here. So, with that being said, can I get any margarita fans in the house? I need someone to have be a volunteer for this first.
What do you want them to do?
Drink it. I'm going to make them drink it.
I'll do it.
Okay, all right. So, salt or no salt?
Right now.
Salt.
Salt. Okay. So once again.
Well, you know. The VP of HR can come.
All right, so go like that. There we go. Up there.
You go heavy on the Grand
What do you think?
Sorry.
Got a little bit of that. A little bit of this. The recipe actually calls for 2 parts tequila, 1 part of either triple sec, Cointreau, or Grand Marnier. When I make mine, I do equal parts, but that's just me. I'm a little bit of a cowboy, no pun intended, and we're doing Texas this month. And sure, we talked about having our Cowboy Caviar, make sure it's muddled in the flavors, so let's give this a nice little shake before we do that. Sometimes these small details make the biggest impact in either your food and or your beverages, and certainly in your customer service. Small details definitely make us famous. Let's give a little splash of OJ. Like that. Come in. Ready to eat. So ready to eat, what do? We glove up. Take care of our moms and dads. Make sure it's safe every single day for them. Like that. And we talked in January, we did a layered drink. This is going to be more of a muddled drink. So I'm going to go like this. I'm going to keep it on the side over there so I can still get the salt on the rim that way. And lime goes on top. Garnish with fresh lime. Stand back and wait for the applause, or they run me out of town. We'll see what happens.
Oh yeah, that's
That's the
good.
good stuff? All right.
Very good.
Thank you so much. Well, folks, without further ado, that's our April destinations, our Inspired Living branded resident engagement program. I hope you get some ideas to take back to your residents, your communities. We have 16 different Inspired Living communities in Florida, Georgia, Louisiana, Texas. What a fantastic company. We hope you felt the love from us here at the Community Support Center, and we hope you give that love back 5-fold, 10-fold, 20-fold to your residents. Take care of our moms and dads every single day. We love you and God bless. Bars open, food's open. Come on down.
Texas got its own brand